One of these coins has a special mark hidden in its design. Can you find it? There it is. But that is not a mint mark. It makes this coin different. But does different automatically mean rare? Does it make it special or more valuable? Before you pay extra for one, we're going to find out what that tiny symbol actually tells you, and importantly, what it doesn't. The easiest mistake is to assume that every small symbol on a coin is nothing but a mint mark. But this 2026 proof American Silver Eagle carries two different marks, and they do two very different jobs. On the reverse, just to the right of the eagle, is a small W. That is the mint mark. That W tells us that this coin was struck at the West Point Mint. Now, flip the coin over to the obverse. To the right of Liberty is a completely different symbol, the 250 privy mark. That symbol does not tell us where the coin was struck. What it does is identify this as a special version connected to the nation's 250th anniversary. So here's the easiest way to remember the difference. A mint mark answers, where was this coin made? And a privy mark answers, why is this version different? Same coin. Two small little marks. Two completely different jobs. But privy marks did not begin as anniversary decorations or modern collector features. Their original purpose was much more practical, because if something went wrong with a coin, somebody needed to answer for it. Centuries ago, coins were valuable pieces of metal, produced without the precision or centralized controls of a modern mint. If a coin was underweight, made with the wrong metal mixture, or suspected of being counterfeit, authorities needed some way to trace where it came from. Beginning in medieval coinage, small identifying marks could connect a coin to a mint, a moneyer, or another person involved in its production. The mark effectively left a signature behind. It said, this coin came from here, or more importantly, this person was responsible for it. And that made the mark a practical control against mistakes, dishonest production, and counterfeiting. It was less about making a coin collectible and more about making its maker accountable. Over time, the job of a privy mark expanded. Mints began using them to identify artists, distinguish production periods, recognize special programs, or commemorate important people and events. That brings us back to the 2026 Silver Eagle. Its 250 privy is not identifying a medieval moneyer or helping authorities track down an underweight silver coin. It connects this version of the coin to the 250th anniversary of American independence. The function has changed from accountability to identification and commemoration, but the basic idea remains. The small mark tells us something that the regular design does not. And here's where collectors need to be careful. A privy mark makes a coin identifiable as a different version, but does that automatically make it rare? So, does the 250 privy mark make this Silver Eagle rare? Before I give you the answer, here's the number that matters. The US Mint lists a maximum mintage of 500,000 for this proof coin. Is 500,000 rare? Make your decision now. The correct answer is the number alone cannot tell us. A mintage limit is a ceiling. It tells us the maximum number the mint can produce. It does not guarantee that all 500,000 will be made, and it does not tell us how many collectors will want one. Rarity depends on supply. Value depends on supply meeting demand. Those sound similar, but collectors often treat them as if they're the same thing. A coin can have a relatively low mintage and still struggle to command a premium if collector demand is weak. Another coin can have a much larger mintage and remain desirable because far more people want it. Now, condition matters too. With an older circulating coin, millions may have been struck, but comparatively few might survive in high grade. With a modern proof coin protected from the day it was made, we should expect a very high percentage to survive in collectible condition. So the privy mark does give this coin a distinct identity. The 1-year anniversary design gives it a story. The mintage limit controls the potential supply. But none of those by itself guarantees lasting rarity or a lasting premium. And the best way to prove that is to compare this modern anniversary privy with 2 marks that sent collectors searching through the history of America's most famous silver dollars. Now let's try the same test with 2 marks that were deliberately designed to look very familiar. Here's a 2021 Morgan dollar with a CC, and here's another with an O. Which one of these was struck at Carson City, and which one was struck at New Orleans? Make your choice. The answer is neither one. Both of these coins were struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Now, to understand why, we need to compare them with the originals. When you look at this century-old Carson City Morgan dollar, you can see that the CC is an actual mint mark, and that tells us that this coin was struck at the Carson City Mint. On this original New Orleans Morgan, the O is also an actual mint mark. This coin was struck at the New Orleans Mint. But neither facility was producing coins in 2021. Carson City had stopped coinage operations in 1893, and New Orleans stopped in 1909. So, of course, neither facility could produce a new 2021 issue. The U.S. Mint still wanted the anniversary program to recognize the historic branch mints that produced the original Morgan dollar, so it brought back their familiar CC and O mint marks as tributes. But look closely at the 2021 coins. Each historic mark sits inside a raised oval. That changes the meaning. The letters inside represent the original mint mark. The complete symbol, letters and oval together, well, that is a privy mark. And that distinction allows the coins to honor Carson City and New Orleans without suggesting that they were actually produced there. On an original Morgan, it denotes the mint mark and the production location. On a 2021 Morgan, it's a privy mark and represents a historical tribute. Now compare them with this third 2021 Morgan dollar. This coin was also struck at Philadelphia, but it carries no mint mark and it has no branch mint privy. Look at the same area beneath the wreath. On one coin, we find the CC privy mark. On another, the O. And on the Philadelphia version, the space is empty. All 3 coins were produced at Philadelphia. The difference is not where they were made. The difference is the historical story that each version was created to represent. 3 2021 Morgan dollars, 1 production facility, and 3 different treatments of the same design area. So the collector rule is simple. Never identify the mint from the letters alone. First, determine whether those letters are an actual mint mark or are they actually part of a privy mark. So before you pay extra for any coin, just because it carries a privy mark, ask yourself 3 questions. First, what does the mark actually represent? Does it identify an anniversary, honor a historic mint, distinguish a special production run, or serve some other purpose? The symbol may give the coin an interesting story, but you need to understand that story before assigning it additional value. Second, how many can exist? Look beyond words like limited and find the actual mintage limit or the final sales figure. Remember, A maximum mintage is only a ceiling, and with a modern collector coin, most examples will probably survive in excellent condition. Third, and most importantly, how strong is the demand? A privy-mark can create a separate version of a coin, but collectors must continue wanting that version for its premium to last. Limited supply can support value, but it can't create demand by itself. So let's return to the coin that started this investigation. What does the 250 privy-mark tell us? It tells us that this is a special version commemorating the 250th anniversary of American independence. What does it not tell us? It doesn't identify where the coin was struck. That job belongs to the W mint mark. It doesn't guarantee that the coin is rare, and it certainly doesn't guarantee that any premium paid today will survive tomorrow. A privy mark can give a coin identity, history, and collector appeal, but the mark is only the beginning of the investigation, not the answer. The collector rule is simple. Identify the mark, check the supply, measure the demand. Then decide what the coin and its story are worth to you.